Welcome to the first session of Class 7 Science Nutrition in Plants. In this class, the objectives of this class are to study about nutrients, nutrition and autotrophic nutrition. Before starting the chapter, let us recall what we have already learnt in class 6. We have already learnt about components of food. So what are these components of food? These components of food are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins and minerals. And in science, there is a specific term for these components of food, and the term is called nutrients. So, what are nutrients? Nutrients are the substances present in food which are needed for our body. Okay, so we need nutrients for our body. So there must be some functions of the nutrients. So what are the functions of nutrients? So if we see the functions, these functions include to provide energy, for growth, to repair damaged cells, and to build our body. Now we will see the functions one by one. We all know that we need energy for all the activities. If I am talking to you, I need energy. If you are talking to me, you need energy. If you want to write, you need energy. If we want to sit, if we want to stand, even when we are sleeping, we need energy. Even our body needs energy for different activities, like you know about different activities like digestion. You already have learnt about different life processes which living organisms perform. So to perform all the activities, living organisms need energy. And from where does this energy come? This energy comes from the nutrients. And can you imagine your growth without these nutrients? Of course not. You need nutrients for growth also. And you know about cells. Do you have any idea about cells? No? Okay. So let me tell you about cells. You might be knowing that like all the buildings are made up of bricks, our bodies are made up of cells. In fact, the bodies of all living organisms are made up of cells. So cells are the building blocks of organisms. So if we want to see the structure of cells, they may be like this. This is the cell membrane. This is the nucleus. And this is fluid-like structure inside the cell that is called cytoplasm. This is the figure of a cell. And if we see this is the figure of a cell that is present in all organisms. But if we see a plant cell, there is an additional covering which is called, if we draw a plant cell, that is called cell wall. So if we want to draw a plant cell, we have to draw like. And there is one more difference in plant cell, that nucleus is pushed to the side because of the presence of a vacuole. So there is a large vacuole which pushes the nucleus to the side. It has a cell wall also in addition to the So this is a typical animal cell and this is a typical plant cell. What is similar in that? You can see the nucleus has been pushed to the side. Yeah, both have cytoplasm and there is a vacuole in the center and there is one additional structure which is called cell wall. This is the structure of a typical plant cell, and you will also find some specific structures which are found only in plant cells, which are green in color. I don't have green ink, so I am drawing just with black ink just to show that these are the chloroplast, very specific structure which are only found in plant cells. Chloroplast. So all the living organisms, whether they are plants or animals, they are made up of cells, and cells undergo damage. It is not that they are in the same form, and this damage must be repaired. So how do organisms repair their damage? For repairing the damages, they also need nutrients, and of course to build our bodies. To build bodies of all organisms, they all need nutrients. So the functions of nutrients may be summarized as to provide energy for growth, to repair damaged cells, and to build our body, even to the bodies of all the organisms. So this is the definition of nutrients and the functions of nutrients. You may note it down. And these are the structure of a cell, typical cell, because bodies of all organisms are made up of cells. You may note it down. Now we will move to the next topic, that is nutrition. So these are the substances which are providing us energy, helping us in growth, helping to build our body, helping to repair the damaged cells. These substances are nutrients. So there must be some process which helps us to take nutrients. So there comes the role of nutrition. So now we will see the definition of nutrition. So what is nutrition? It's a very important process. It is one of the processes which differentiate between a living and a non-living organism. And this process is, what is this process? Nutrition is the intake and utilization of food. What is nutrition? Nutrition is the intake and utilization of food. It means it involves two processes. The first process is how we take our food, and the second thing is how our body utilizes that food. So it is very important to have a nutritious food so that after we take it, our body should utilize in a useful way, that is useful for our body. So now we will see the two broad categories of nutrition. So nutrition can be divided into two kinds. The one kind is called autotrophic nutrition, another kind is called heterotrophic nutrition. What is the meaning of these terms? See, the meaning of this terms comes from the words itself. Auto means self. And trophic means nutrition. Okay. Hetero means others. And trophos means nutrition. So let us try to understand what is the difference between these two kinds of nutrition. What is autotrophic nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition means if an organism makes its own food using the simple raw materials, it is called autotrophic nutrition. Like plants are autotrophic. And hetero means if an organism depends on other organisms for its food requirements, it is called heterotrophic nutrition. For example, animals, few plants, even some plants are heterotrophic, fungus, bacteria, etc. So now we will study in details about autotrophic nutrition. So we will write the definition of autotrophic nutrition. What is this nutrition? It is a nutrition in which an organism makes its own food using simple raw materials. So we may recall that I have just put animals in the category of heterotrophic. So you may question that we are also making our food like pulao, like biryani, like paratha. So there is a question now comes. What is that question? The question is that whether we are making our food or we are just cooking our food. So if you go into details of that, you will find that we are not actually making our food. We are getting our food from plants. For example, if you are getting rice, it is obtained from plants. If you are taking vegetables, if you are taking fruits, these all are obtained from plants. So that comes under heterotrophic nutrition. So now we will study about autotrophic nutrition. So autotrophic nutrition is a nutrition in which an organism makes its own food using simple raw materials. So examples of autotrophic nutrition are, for example, plant nutrition. Okay. So this is the process. Autotrophic nutrition is a process in which an organism makes its own food using simple raw materials. For example, nutrition in plants. So this is our topic, nutrition in plants. So what are those organisms called? There must be the name of those organisms. There must be some name. So the name of those organisms are called autotrophs. So now we will take the definition of autotrophs. Autotrophs are the organisms. Autotrophs are the organisms which make their own food. For example, plants. You may find some other organisms also which perform autotrophic nutrition, which we will come later after understanding the requirements for autotrophic nutrition. So the process is nutrition and the organisms are called autotrophs. Okay, so plant nutrition is an example of autotrophic nutrition and plants are an example of autotrophs. So now we will study in details about autotrophic nutrition and what things are required for that. Okay, so this is a picture of a tree. You may observe certain green structures in it. These structures are leaves. So what is needed for undergoing autotrophic nutrition? So there is a process in plants which help them to undergo photosynthesis. So plants undergo autotrophic nutrition with the help of light. So the process is photosynthesis. What is the meaning of photo? Photo means light. And what is the meaning of synthesis? Synthesis means making. So what is this photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the making of food in the presence of light. So do we only need light for the process of photosynthesis? No. There are certain other requirements also. So what are those requirements? So we will see the requirements of photosynthesis. So what are the requirements? So basically four things are needed for photosynthesis. Those things are sunlight, of course, chlorophyll, water, of course certain minerals are indirectly involved in photosynthesis, and another thing needed by plants is carbon dioxide. So these are the requirements of photosynthesis. So actually how this process happens? So you are already familiar about the structure of a plant. It is made up of leaves, stem, branches, roots, maybe flowers and fruits. So how do plants complete its all requirements for photosynthesis? For example, water. How does the water reach the leaves? So what is one need? One need is chlorophyll. One of the needs to perform photosynthesis is chlorophyll. So have you noticed that leaves are green in color? What makes the leaves green? Any idea about it? No idea? Okay, let me tell you. So leaves have a pigment called chlorophyll which gives them the green color. So what makes us different from plants? We do not have chlorophyll and plants are having the chlorophyll. So because photosynthesis takes place in the presence of chlorophyll only, so chlorophyll is needed for photosynthesis. So all the substances must reach at a place where chlorophyll is present. And what are those places? Those places are basically the leaves. So what is present in the leaves? Leaves have the chlorophyll. What is present in the leaves? Leaves have the chlorophyll. right? So leaves have the chlorophyll which are present in the green parts. Yeah, even stems and branches may have chlorophyll. It is not that leaves and branches do not have chlorophyll, but if you see the surface area, if you see any plant or a tree, you may observe the maximum surface area is occupied by leaves. So they are having the maximum chlorophyll. And this is one of the features which help in chlorophyll, because by having more surface area, the amount of chlorophyll will also increase and the amount of photosynthesis will also increase. Okay, so chlorophyll is there. What else is needed to perform photosynthesis? Of course, they need sunlight. So they need sunlight. So this is the sunlight. Okay, sunlight they are getting from the sun. Chlorophyll is already present in the leaves. What else? Carbon dioxide. From where do they get the carbon dioxide? Of course, from the atmosphere. So from the atmosphere they get the carbon dioxide. Okay. And water? What about water? Do you think plants will get water? Will get water if we drop water on them? Have you ever observed that whenever there is rain, the water falls over the leaves? It does not penetrate through the leaves. So how does water get into the leaves? So actually there are some vessels, there are some pipe-like structures which are, you can see, this is the model of a plant. These structures, there are some pipe-like structures which are called vessels. What is that? They are vessels. Vessels helps to transport. Actually, water is absorbed by the roots, and from the roots, with the help of vessels, they reach the branches, they reach the stems, the branches, and finally they reach the leaves. So the pipe-like structures which help to transport water in plants are called vessels. So that point also we will write. So water. Another thing which we need is water. How does it reach? It reaches through vessels. Have you noticed the veins in leaves? Have you noticed? This is the midrib of a leaf, middle part of the leaf. These contain the vessels, and you see fine branches also. Fine branches reach water to all parts of the plant. So vessels basically help to transport water to leaves. Now what is the yield of photosynthesis? In the presence of sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide and water, they undergo photosynthesis. But what is produced? What is the yield? What is the importance of photosynthesis? See, plants, as a result of this process, plants produce carbohydrates and oxygen. Carbohydrate. So this is, we may sum up the process of photosynthesis like this. Plants, see, photosynthesis is taking in the presence of leaves. Leaves have chlorophyll which gives it the green color. From the sun they are taking the sunlight. From the atmosphere they are taking the carbon dioxide. Water is absorbed by roots and transported to the chlorophyll containing leaves with the help of vessels. So now we have all the requirements of photosynthesis. So what is produced as a result of photosynthesis? As a result of photosynthesis, carbohydrates and oxygen is produced. And carbohydrate is stored in the form of starch. It's very important point. It's a very important point. Stored as starch. In the next classes, we will study about how different nutrients are produced, because now we are talking about sugars. We are talking about carbohydrates. So how some other subnutrients like proteins are produced, proteins and fats are produced, we will study in our next classes. And what is the other product? Other byproduct is oxygen. And as you all know, oxygen is the lifeline for us. If we do not take oxygen, we cannot live for a second. So do you think plants are important for us? Definitely we must care for plants. So this is the process. Now we will write it in the form of equation, and we will also study the structure of a leaf, which helps it to take all the requirements for photosynthesis. And what about other leaves which are not green? You must have seen many leaves which are green in color, and there are some other leaves also which are not so green. Like you can see this red colored leaf. So what about it? Does it contain chlorophyll? Definitely, it also contains chlorophyll. But due to the presence of other pigments like carotenoids, xanthophylls, etc., you may not go into the details of the names, other pigments mask the color. So don't think that if you find a plant red in color or orange in color or yellow in color, they do not have chlorophyll. They do have chlorophyll. Yeah, that is another thing, that we have another set of plants which lack chlorophyll. We will study about them also in our next classes. So now we will write the equation for photosynthesis, as well as we will see the structure of a leaf. So now we will try to write the structure of equation of photosynthesis. So we may try to write what are the things needed. Carbon dioxide, equation of photosynthesis we may write. So how to write it? We will write what is needed and what is produced. So what are the things which are needed? Yeah, carbon dioxide is needed. What else is needed? Water. Okay. And in presence of what may we complete the process of photosynthesis? Of course, sunlight. Even, yeah, here I have written sunlight, but it is not that plants perform photosynthesis only in the presence of sunlight. They can perform photosynthesis in the presence of any light. That's how indoor plants undergo photosynthesis. Okay, so we can say light and chlorophyll. Of course, chlorophyll is needed. Why chlorophyll is needed? Because chlorophyll is the pigment which has the ability to absorb sunlight. It is the pigment which stores the sunlight. And what is produced? Carbohydrates and oxygen. Okay. So this is the equation of photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of light and chlorophyll producing carbohydrates and oxygen. Now we will see the structure of a leaf which facilitates the intake of nutrients. Actually, these are the basic intake of not nutrients, intake of raw materials, with the help of which nutrients are made. So now we will see the structure of a leaf. Because few questions remain unresolved. The questions are like, how do carbon dioxide enter the leaf? How do carbon dioxide enter the leaf? How does carbon dioxide enter the leaf? And how does water enter the leaf? So now we will see to that. If we see the structure of a leaf, if you see the structure of a leaf, you may find these structures. These are the veins through which water will be reached. Fine. But how does water reach the cell? That we have to see. And actually there are some minute pores on the surface of the leaf. So if you take a small, if you observe a small part of a leaf, you will find certain pores. And those pores are called stomata. So we may draw it. And it is surrounded by epidermal cells. So you can see, we will go into details also. These are the epidermal cells. These are the guard cells. And this opening, very important opening, is called stoma. Okay, this is the figure. Stoma. So this term may be new to you. You may be wondering what are stomata and what is stoma. So actually, please don't get confused. These are the same words only. Stoma is the singular form. So the pores which are present on the surface of leaves, through which exchange of gases take place, like carbon dioxide may go inside or may come out, water may go in or water may come out. These pores are called stomata. So when I am talking about pores, I am talking about stomata. And when I am talking about a singular pore, it is called a stoma. So we may write it also. Stoma is a singular word. Stoma is singular, and stomata means there are many stoma together called stomata. Got it? So you can see, and these are the cells which are, see, stoma is surrounded by two guard cells. These are the guard cells, and water may enter inside it, water may come out of it, carbon dioxide may enter through it, carbon dioxide may come out of it. So what is the function of stoma, or what are the function of stomata? So we can say the basic function is exchange of gases and water. What is the function of stomata? Exchange. Exchange means it can be taken, it can be given. Exchange of gases and water. You have already studied about transpiration in class 6. It is the loss of water in the form of water vapors by plants. So transpiration will happen through stomata. Photosynthesis will also happen through stomata. Why? Because carbon dioxide will enter to the leaves through stomata. Water will enter in the leaf through stomata. Even water will be given out in the form of vapors through stomata. So what are stoma? Stoma are the pores which are present on the surface of leaves which help to exchange gases and water. So this is about the structure of stomata. Basically stoma if we talk about a single pore. So this is the structure of stoma. And stoma is singular, stomata is plural. It is used for exchange of gases and water. So this is the structure I have taken here. Now we will study the cross section of a leaf, where the stoma present, where is the stoma present, where are the chlorophyll present, all those things we will study. So if we see the cross section of a leaf, it is made up of few cells. Okay, this structure is called upper epidermis. On the outer surface of the leaf, there is a structure which is called upper epidermis. Of course, nucleus is present in the cells, and this epidermis secretes a layer of cuticle which prevents the entry of water on a leaf. What is this? This is cuticle. Cuticle will prevent the entry of water. You understood? The outer surface of a leaf, it is the upper epidermis surrounded by cuticle. Cuticle prevents the entry or exit of water. Below this, there are a layer of cells and there is a large vacuole inside. Pushing the nucleus to the side. Okay, epidermis, and there is a layer of cells. Actually it is called a spongy. I'm rubbing this. These are the cells. You don't know to you don't need to know its name, but still I am writing. It is palisade parenchyma. And what is the speciality of these cells? They are very rich in chlorophyll. I don't have green color, so I may do it with end. So it is very rich in chlorophyll. Below this are irregular cells which are called, and there is a bundle sheath cell actually. May leave the space for it. Inside that, vascular bundles are present. Don't know. You may draw it as a vascular bundle. And there are some other cells which are irregular in shape. And you may find the large intercellular spaces between them, and few chlorophyll are present in these cells also, but number is few. Okay, so this is the palisade parenchyma, these are the spongy parenchyma, and in between these spongy and this is the vascular bundle, and below this is the lower epidermis. But there are some pores in the lower epidermis. And cuticle is also present. These are the stomata. This is the stoma. This is the figure of cross section of a leaf. CS. So this is the structure of a leaf. In the structure of a leaf, you may notice certain things which are needed for photosynthesis, and that thing is called chlorophyll. You may find chlorophyll here. Many numbers of chlorophyll are present in the this parenchyma, or basically we may say the layer which are present in between the two epidermal cells are known as this is called mesophyll. This layer is also called mesophyll. Palisade, this is a spongy parenchyma. These together are called mesophyll. These together are called mesophyll. So basically the thing which is needed for photosynthesis here is the stoma, through which water would enter, and the chlorophyll. The structure of leaf is explained to you to understand how it contains the structure, how it accommodates the structure which would help in photosynthesis. So if you do not remember the diagram of the cross section of leaf, then also you must remember that chlorophyll is present between the outer and lower layers of epidermis, and which helps in photosynthesis. You may see there are some pores on the lower surface of leaf. Even in outer surface also those pores are present, but in most cases the number of these pores are more in lower epidermis. You have learnt about dicot or monocot plants in class 6. In monocot, actually the number of stomata is almost equal on both surfaces of the leaves, but in case of dicot plants, the number of stomata is more on the lower surface of the leaf. So what you have to learn is that there are some pores which are helping in the intake of water and gases and even giving out of water and gases. Those pores are called stoma. Those pores are called stomata, and the singular of that is stoma. And there are certain structures which are called chlorophyll, which helps in photosynthesis. So this is about today's topic. This is the structure of the leaf. And what is the importance of photosynthesis? Importance of photosynthesis we may summarize. It is give oxygen, gives food and oxygen, if you want to write in short. Okay. So this is all about today's class. In today's class, we have learnt about nutrients, which are the substances which are needed for our body. We have learnt about the process through which the nutrients are taken inside the body, and that process is called nutrition. We have learned that nutrition may be divided into two broad categories, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic means the organism is making its own food. Heterotrophic means an organism is depending on other organisms for food. So heterotrophic organisms like humans or animals, they are directly or indirectly dependent upon plants for food. And on whom the plants are dependent? Plants are taking its energy from sunlight. So we may say that sun is the ultimate source of energy. After that, we have discussed about autotrophic nutrition in plants. The requirements of autotrophic nutrition, that is photosynthesis in plants, are chlorophyll, water, sunlight and carbon dioxide. We have also learned how these nutrients are taken and how the structure of a plant is suited to fulfill its requirements of photosynthesis. After a plant has undergone its photosynthesis, it has synthesized its own food, and as a byproduct, oxygen is also released. The food that is produced by plant is used by plant for its own requirements, as well as we are using that food for our requirements. So plants are very important for us. We must preserve plants. Right? So all of you are ready to take care of a plant? At least one plant you must take care. If everyone takes care, it makes a difference. So are you ready to make a difference? Thank you, class.